So James, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. You'll be known to United fans for your spell out the club between 2008 and 2016. When you look back on that time in your life, what memories do you take from it?
Incredible memories. One of the best parts of my life, probably. I think the main things, the people that you meet and, have great sort of memories and bond with them. So many mates who I've not seen for years, but with what I'm doing now, actually maybe reach out and speak to them and, you just catch up like old mates. But incredible memories and incredible time in my career.
How would you describe yourself as a player?
Like tactically, technically sort of thing? Is that what
whole package.
Obviously I always wanted to play central midfield, but I kind of always got thrown out to the left, but sort of I'd always loved Paul Scholes, get on the ball, be clever with the ball, attack, score goals. But I mean, he was always known as not the best tackler, but I did my defensive part as well. And in the modern game, good pressing, I was very good at pressing, catching people. And that was probably me, but probably just didn't play in the middle enough in my time at United. But that was always the goal.
And you were captain throughout the youth levels. I mean, that's even at that age band, it's a massive honour, isn't it, just to have been United captain? Yeah,
it was good. Obviously, got won the league twice, I think, and got a photo at Old Trafford with Brian Robson taking the trophy. Obviously, nice memories now. Now you look back on it. I think Resi's under 21s, 23s, whatever you call it. You never want to be. I was probably there too long. Probably developed a bit late. You kind of want to skip that chapter, go from 18 straight to the first team. But we can't all do that. But it was an amazing time. Obviously, we had some great achievements. Some put in a lot of hard work under Warren Joyce and the training regime he did. It was, as I said, very proud. And we had some great guys in that team as well.
He was a monster, wasn't he, Joycey?
Yeah. I heard it on the Paul Scholes on about it the other day on a different podcast, and saying about how fit we were, and we were part of that, and it was just every day was just intense. The games became easy because you knew you weren't doing runs after or gym. We did gym 4 or 5 times a week, but you're doing that much, and you didn't get bigger. You just got fitter and stronger. It was It was intense. It was like the Marines, essentially.
I think we're about 2 minutes in and Scholes has already come up twice.
Yeah.
In terms of the players that you learn from, I'm assuming he's up there. Who else?
Yeah, I guess he'd left prior to me getting to that level. A big fan I was of is Michael Carrick as a midfielder. He was always. If people ask me now who's the best player you played with, I'd just throw his name out. Maybe not the best, but in terms of underrated, I think now if he played, he'd be so much more respected and rated. Certainly, if, abroad, they loved him. I think that sort of 6 pivot role, you couldn't get the ball off him. He'd just chop you all over. Trying to press him, he's 6'3", pretty quick when he gets going. Can pass the ball 30 yards with your foot. He was really good, and he was dead subtle leadership, if you know what I mean. Little comments, little quotes, and just helping you along your way. Giggsy, obviously, he was in the first team, training with him a lot, and then he became coach. So he was dead nice. You could always have a bit of a laugh with him. You didn't know if he was being serious at sometimes, but he's a good guy and just helped us youngsters, because I think he knew the club was about that and that we needed to produce youngsters and get them on the path.
You have a type, don't you? The thinking man's midfielder.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, not to bring City into it, but now you look at the Bernardo Silvas, I think he's a fantastic player. So small, not that fast, but one of the best players in the world for the past 5-6 years, you know what I mean? So, that was me, yeah.
And in terms of, obviously, the coaching staff, the people above you, you were given your first team debut under Louis van Gaal. He was a character, as anyone who worked with him can attest. How did you find that experience? Yeah,
he was funny. People ask me now, what was he like? He was just, and I think I've heard it about maybe Arne Slot, the new Liverpool man, Erik ten Hag. He was very Dutch, straight speaking. They don't mince the words. It's you were good today or you were awful today. It was no in between. He told you what he thought of you. Sometimes I kind of prefer it because you get a lot of maybe British managers who, pull the wool over your eyes and give you a little load of rubbish. And yeah, you don't know where you stand, and it's just kind of leading you on. Whereas with him, you knew where you stood and what he expected of you. But yeah, he was a character. He came out with some funny stuff, and obviously the day I made my debut, he did that sort of impression of Alexis Sanchez where he fell on the floor. Which, to be honest, I was stood down the touchline and I thought, I didn't know what happened. I just heard the commotion. I thought Wenger had hit him. So I was like, this is mental. And then kind of saw it afterwards and realised what it is about. But yeah, I mean, I obviously hold a lot of respect for him. He was a great manager in the game and obviously gave me my very, very minute chance sort of thing. So yeah, it was good.
You touch on there it's a minute of Premier League football, of first team football at United. And I've spoken to people like Nick Culkin in the past who had a 3-second career in the first team. What does that minute mean to you? Because it's something that so few people have.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you would like it to be more like, but looking back, it's, the amount of people said, you've played for Man United, like, no one can take that away from you. Obviously, you get the Premier League ball, you get all that stuff, but the name on the wall at Carrington's like, you're a part of history there when you go and look back, and some of the players are on it from dating back to like the 1950s, 30s, whatever it goes back to. It's just like, wow, you are a part of that. So that's pretty cool. And walk, I don't remember the game at all. It was a blackout of emotions, just too much going on, too much adrenaline. And the main thing was do not lose the game. We're 3-2 up, do not mess up at all. Like if it needs to go into like Rosette, it's like getting launched. But then like walking off, like waving to my parents in the crowd, like I'll always remember that.
That's mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's 1 minute on paper, but it's years and years that have led to that moment for you and for your family, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, my dad used to drive me the first year at United when we call it Manus, where you moved to Manchester, but the first year I wasn't in that scheme, so we drove 5 times a week, and it was a massive hardship on them. And to be honest, I wasn't that keen for moving because, like home, all your friends and stuff, but my dad was like, I can't keep this up. So it was kind of like, you're doing it. And obviously it made me a better player and went on to obviously enjoy it, and it was all fine. But initially I was like, I'm not too sure. But yeah, obviously he gave me the push and definitely made me a better player.
Less than a year later, you're back at Old Trafford again, coming on the last minute, but for Hull City. It's funny how it works, isn't it?
Yeah.
Talk to me, if you can, about the contract.
In terms of
you, I mean, set me straight if I'm wrong, allegedly turned down the offer of staying at United.
Yeah, well, United offered me, I think they wanted me to do a 2-year and go on loan and sort of, similar to like Andreas and maybe Jesse did. But I just didn't want to get like lost in the loan system. I think at the time, a lot of the Chelsea boys were doing that and just like absolutely getting lost. And obviously money was a factor. They were offering absolutely nowhere near. And there was talk that Hull might be in. And considering, we'd won 2 championships with the 23s, I've been one of the main players in that. And I think there was obviously more negotiating room, but we kind of just said like, no, I think there's rumours from Hull once they get the ownership talk sent over. And the money was, absolutely miles better. And the main thing for me was I would have been seen as a first team player at Hull, whereas at United they were signing, obviously under Mourinho, they were signing, I think, I don't know, Pogba. Pogba might have just came in. Obviously they had Schneiderlin was coming in, or was in Schweinsteiger. So it was difficult. I trained with the first team once in pre-season, so I was like, the opportunity's not there. I'm not like a physical, athletic sort of midfielder, which Mourinho likes. So there's just so many like contributing factors. I was just like, no, I think it is my time to go. You just kind of get that sense from the club. So yeah, I have no regrets about that.
And what was it like coming on at Old Trafford as a Hull player?
Yeah, I mean, I've got not loads of emotion about it, really. I think if it was an incredible game, it might have been a bit different. But yeah, it was interesting. Obviously, saw Mourinho on the touchline. Sort of patted me on the back, wished me good luck. But yeah, it was just weird being on the other side of it. Obviously, you see all the kit men, all the people that you know, and that's the main thing. The people, like seeing them was so good, so good to be back. Obviously the fans and all the songs, and it just comes back to you all like, God, I've been there for 8 years and it's just back like that, but you're on the other side of it, overlooking. But yeah, it was a nice experience, but I won't say I remember it too great, in honesty.
Was it at that stage when you were at Hull that the injury started becoming an issue?
Yeah, I think the first year was fine, but we were in a relegation battle, and the problem I kind of had was I'd had not 1 minute of first team experience, so I was still seen a bit as a young lad. And when you're doing a relegation battle, it's not the time to be throwing people in. Went on loan to Wigan. Obviously, Warren Joyce was there at the time. Story of my career, he got kind of sacked a couple of games in, and that happened a few times when I went to new clubs. And again, without that like sort of experience to like fall back on, it's just an easy one. I always felt it was an easy one to leave out, sort of thing. But yeah, later that year, I think it was like October, November, like complete blowout on my knee, like all meniscus on my lateral side. Like I think the guy who reads the MRI scans said, "Oh yeah, it's absolutely rogered his knee or something." So that was about 5 months, and then I was 2 days away from training. Absolutely went again, so that's another 6, and it just escalated and it became this big thing. And then by that time, my time at Hull was just over, just through that one knee injury, really. Yeah, hard. It was hard work.
Where do you go from there? And then on to Bolton.
Yeah.
Which, from what you read and what you hear, wasn't the best of experiences for you.
No, obviously it looked perfect on paper. Kind of, they needed players. I needed to play after that injury. But, you know, I needed games just to get back to fitness. But I think the first day training there, the players were doing like a sort of press release as to why they were not training, because they hadn't been paid. And I was like, oh my God, what am I getting myself into? Eventually signed on like maybe the 1st of August. And even like the goalkeeper coach was like, God, you must be desperate if you sign here, sort of thing. And I was like, you know, I didn't have many options, but yeah, signing that, but it was an absolute mess. Like we were getting battered. We had young team out. Again, Phil Parkinson, great manager, doing well at Wrexham now. He left after about 5 games, went up to Sunderland. Keith Hill came in, and yeah, just didn't see eye to eye. Like, I'm pretty reasonable guy. He's a bit bonkers in fairness, putting it politely. But yeah, just one of them. That is a game of opinions. So yeah, didn't go down well. Really wasn't enjoying my football. Didn't like it at that time, and then COVID hit.
Well, yeah, because you left Bolton by mutual consent just before COVID, and then you went to Slovakia.
Yeah.
How was that before and during COVID?
Yeah. I went over, so it was funny, I went to see my brother in America about early Feb, and it was like kind of kicking off when in China, because my sister-in-law was meant to be going to Taiwan. She was like umming and ahhing about it. I'm like, oh, like what's the big thing? And then 3 weeks later, it's global news sort of thing. So yeah, just went, I think me and my agent was just, how can you get like someone playing football? It's like, oh, something completely different. So obviously went over for a couple of weeks, signed, and then COVID was kicking off and the games were cancelled. I was like, oh, I'm not getting left out here, because it was a small town in central Slovakia. So yeah, I got like the last flight back. I think I had to like go through Dusseldorf, got cancelled back to Manchester, so I ended up going to Gatwick. But I was like, as long as I'm on like British soil, I don't care. I'll walk home. Yeah, I'll walk up the M6. So yeah, I got home, and then obviously COVID was pretty mental, but I got super fit in COVID, which was, you know, you had nothing to do. Went back, we had like 5 games, stayed in the league. The club were really happy with me, wanted me to sign a year. And that was never the initial plan, but 5 games was never going to be enough to attract other clubs in Europe or better clubs in that league. So yeah, the year I had there, though, I loved it. The people were so good. The lads were like really good. And it was just so like pure, you know, there was no like Mercedes and like flash watches. Like, you know, on international break, we'd go to a cabin and everyone would like have a drink, have a laugh. And it was just very like, you're almost a student in a way.
Stripped back.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I was playing well, like the club really liked me. We were winning. We did all right for our club. We were a small club, but yeah, really enjoyed it. And just to be part of like a proper team and succeeding, that was the main thing.
And then Hungary. How did that come about?
Yeah, I got approached, I think so I'd scored a few goals and assisted, and then signed a pre-contract agreement in the January. Ideally, I would have liked to leave and, you know, not to get out of Slovakia, but it's not where you want to be at, you know, whatever age I was then, 25, 26. So yeah, Hungary said, okay, we're okay for now, but in the summer, so it's, you know, better league, bit better money, better club, better facilities, just stuff like that. So, and living in Budapest, great city. So yeah, it all worked, and went there and was really enjoying it. I think I was there like 5 months, like kind of got into the teams, doing really well. I think the sporting director said I was, best player that first half of the season. Then ankle, again, cartilage damage, just absolutely blew up in the December. And then it just that was it. A bit.
Got a year on the sidelines.
Yeah, it was a long time. I had an operation over there which didn't go to plan, and when I got it redone in England by a really good surgeon, BFA helped me with that. They said, this is medieval, this technique of, surgery, which is not what you want to hear. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, that was, I think it was about 18 months in total by the time I had it, and then I came back and like my body just wasn't the same. But I loved that time in Budapest, but until that injury, and it was just an absolute nightmare after that, to be honest. And I didn't realise how big it was going to be. At the time, we had a new coach, and I was like, oh God, 3 weeks on the sidelines might not be too bad. But then 18 months later, and you're like, oh my God, am I still going to play again? And yeah.
Without being a grief junkie about it, what's the bigger toll during that period? Is it mental or physical?
Oh yeah, mental, 100%. Because like, there's so many things going through your head, and your job is to play football, and you can't do it. So you're on your own all the time. Obviously, you got the physios, but you're just being told you're doing gym and constant stuff. It's always on your own. You're usually playing in a team, having like good laugh, but the amount of times that you see people come into the like injury room, rehab room, or whatever, and then they're like a week later they're back playing, and then you're like, oh my God, I've got like 8 months left, and it's just soul destroying. So that bit's hard, and it's just depressing. It is horrible. I mean, I'm a pretty like level-headed guy. I have a good laugh and just, get on with it. But there's times where you're just like, oh, what's the point? But yeah, it's that resilience. You got to keep grafting, get to the little tick boxes, you get to that, or you can walk, you get to that, or you can jog, or you can weight bear, etc. And then, you just go from there.
Was that your coping mechanism, that step by step?
Yeah. And like when I was at Hull, they were like, okay, you get to November, you can have like a week off or something, go to like, get some sun or whatever. Stuff like that. And, in Budapest, it was like, I might be able to go home, see like my family. So like there's stuff like that. But yeah, the main things were like, getting back on a pitch is massive. Like even, you're back on the pitch, but you still got 3 months left, but just to touch a ball and stuff like that it sounds weird, but it's nice.
Absolutely. And then after Hungary, back to Slovakia?
Yeah, that was a mess, really. I got a good contract offer off a club, but it was in the middle of nowhere, and I was just a bit like, after living at home for about a year while I did my rehab, I was just kind of like wanting to get back home, so I put it off, and then eventually said, okay, maybe it's the best I can get, because there wasn't a lot happening in England, obviously, after the injuries and stuff. And then they were like, oh, we've kind of moved on, and then ended up signing for a team towards the bottom of the league, which was just in a bit of a mess. And yeah, it wasn't great, and I didn't enjoy it that time. The first time I loved it, but that time was just, that's when I thought, oh, I'm clinging on here. Could probably diversify into something better, but it is what it is.
When you look back, was there a moment where you just thought, yeah, I'm done?
Yeah, it was definitely November international break, 2023, came back home, which was rare. We didn't get much time off, and Slovakia's not got loads of flights, so you either like driving to Vienna or wherever, maybe Budapest. Came back home, and I was just like, my groin was killing, like my body like kind of slants from all the ops I've had on my left side. So as a central midfielder, not being able to pass the ball consistently with your right foot is a bit of an issue. So I just thought, you know what, like I couldn't see the progression, whereas last time I was in Slovakia, I could be like, okay, you can go to Hungary, you can go to Austria, Germany, Italy, maybe back to England or Scotland or whatever. But I just didn't see that this time. I wasn't barely playing, hated it, living in a hotel. I was just like, it's not, there's more things to life than this, and I'm young enough to hopefully diversify and be successful in a different career. And that was the thought process, really. And yeah, definitely good decision at the time. As much as I do miss football, but that period of it, not so much.
That's a perfect little segue into my next question, was missing it, really. So obviously the injuries that you've had, do you occasionally you'll be sat at your desk or with a client or whatever and you'll get a little twinge and you'll just go, football?
Yeah.
The muscle memory kicks in kind of.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, people, that's why I do like travel, because people love to talk about travel, but obviously people, probably even more so in this country, certainly mates and lads love to talk about football. It's just that all working together for success, you know, during the week you're competing with, let's say, yourself for that midfield spot, and then you're going to compete against the opponent to get the 3 points, to get the promotion or whatever it is. You're always like striving and fighting for something. Every morning you know your goal, whereas I said to my wife when I first stopped, I was like, why do people get up in the morning? I was like, what's the point? I was like, and that was the big thing. I was like, what's the point? Like, you know, that was it. And even now it's like what I do, it is sales, but it's not, it's more people. But I like the drive of, oh no, I've got to generate my own things and like push myself. But yeah, that was the biggest sort of, I don't know, hard thing for me to take. I was just like, I didn't understand it for a while.
Yeah. So when you were looking at taking that next step, when you're going, right, okay, football is finished, something new, what options were on the table for you?
Honestly, that November international break to when I had about a month and I was applying for every job under the sun just to see what I'd like. Honestly, I applied for jobs with the government. And I was like, you know, you watch a James Bond film, I'm like, could I do that? Absolutely like surreal things like, and some of them is funny. I get the emails back now and it's like come through and it's like, oh, you apply for this job, I'm like, delete. You know, and it was crazy, but that's the thing, I speak to people about it now, like you don't know what you want to do. You know, you've always been a footballer since, not just like 18 when you signed pro or 17, like since you were like 10. Yeah. You know, that's all you're ever going to do. Okay, if you didn't do that, you might have gone and been a PE teacher or whatever, but it was just, yeah, I was so like, didn't know what to do. And I thought just keep applying for stuff. And then I did start to see it. I was like, okay, I don't like that. Move away from that segment. Got a good job. My friend actually helped me get like quite a good job in London, like a corporate job. But I said to him, I felt bad at the end because I kind of let him down. But I just said, it's not me. I don't think I'd enjoy it. I didn't want to do something where I was going to bed on a Sunday night, dreading the next day. Because football, I loved. It was my life. I'd rather something like now, if I need to log on and do something at 10 p.m. at night, it doesn't feel like work. It's just part of life. And I've always stuck by that. And, you know, I enjoy what I do now.
So what sold travel to you?
I've always loved traveling. Like, you know, in the summer, all the footballers are off to like Portugal, Dubai, you know, Mykonos or whatever. And to be fair, I do like Mykonos. But me and my wife went to like, I don't know, Costa Rica, Panama, flew to Disneyland, mate got married in Texas. You know, we did random stuff. And I was always kind of like, I don't know, probably just stemmed from my dad liked travel, my sister likes it, my brothers like it. Just, yeah, always just doing different things, like love adventure, nature, wildlife. Just, yeah, I just like to see the world. So, yeah, really passionate about it and just thought, you know, that could be a good start. I think, as I said before, like if you're passionate about something, it doesn't feel like work. It's that saying, isn't it? If you love it, you won't work a day in your life, sort of thing. I don't think it's always that clear, but so, yeah, and I was at a New Year's Eve party again, unsure what to do. I spoke to someone who works for our head office and she was like, family friend, good friend of my sister's, and just got talking about it. I thought, you know what, I might give that, you know, a bit more attention.
You mentioned their head office. Obviously, we're in offices here. Where did you end up working? What's the company called?
So this is Travel Counsellors. Obviously, I'm a franchise of them, so they give me the tools to sort of go off and be successful. So that can be as big or as little as you want. There's people who do it, you know, part-time on the side, and then there's people who do extremely well out of it, which is obviously my goal. So yeah, they're amazing. Obviously, they call it the TC community, Travel Counsellor TC community, and they are like a massive football team, essentially. Obviously, when I started, it was pretty daunting. You know, you're going from this team of football, like you've always been told what to do, when to do it, whereas now you've got to generate your own leads, you've got to generate your own business, do your own marketing, etc. But they give you all that to try and help you along your way, which they do. You know, there's people I've seen today at head office who I've known from the very get-go and, you know, coming, like almost like a under 12s coach who you've not seen for like 10 years. Obviously, it's a bit shorter, maybe 12 months in my circumstance. But, you know, it's, again, I come back to it, the people, and there's a lot of good people here.
So you've been at it for just over a year?
Yeah, March 3rd, I think, or 1st or something. So, yeah, about, 15, 16 months or something like that. So, yeah, it's good.
Think back to your first booking.
I think it was my brother. I was like, hold on. I was like, don't book it yet. Yeah, I think he was going away for his 40th, somewhere special. So I was like, yeah, hold that for. But that's how it starts. Obviously, friends, family, expand. Word of mouth's massive.
Yeah.
You do all the social media stuff, but there's nothing like, you know, oh, what about this person sort of thing. Yeah. So, yeah.
You've gone, like you say there, from being in your whole life basically, you've been in a collective situation, and suddenly you're the gaffer. Have you had a lot of support in that transition?
Yeah, definitely. There's all like the to-dos and the to-don'ts essentially. So you get the sort of guide to how success can be made. So there's all that, but obviously a lot of it comes from yourself. Similar to football, you got to be resilient, sort of work hard, punctual, have goals, you know, try and reach them goals. So you obviously got to push it a lot yourself, but the travel counsellors obviously help with in the background in terms of, I don't know, obviously all the suppliers, all the knowledge, all the training, education. So yeah, you couldn't do it without them, like no way. But yeah, it is also on yourself to push, to drive, and to be, you know, determined. Again, like football, you know, it's only the same. You only what you make out. You only put in what you make out of it. So.
I go back to your previous point a few minutes ago about purpose, about what you get up for in the morning. It must feel great when you sort someone out with a holiday and you get nice feedback from it, because you've improved their life a little bit. Yeah,
I mean, I've had some great ones recently where it's like, I just want the wow factor. I'm turning 50 and I'm like, great. So it started off with like a cruise in South America, and then it turned into this like basically tour upon Asia, and like it was insane. Absolutely loved doing it. And they're the ones that you enjoy doing, obviously. And she's come, I didn't know this was possible, you know. Another one, I think a guy's, he's soon now been to South Africa, and he was born there and never thought he could do it, but now with me he might be able to go and like see where he's, you know, was brought up and stuff like this. So there's little like wins like that. It's not all like that. Some are just like, yeah, book me, this is done, and you know, each to their own. But yeah, the little ones are like, it's pretty cool. And to be honest, like it's booking something, getting the booking over the line. It's like scoring a goal. There's no better feeling sometimes. Just like, yeah, done that, I've worked on that, I've achieved that. Obviously you get paid at the end of it. But yeah, it can be really rewarding.
It's making people's lives a little bit better, isn't it?
Yeah.
How much do people look forward to the holidays?
Yeah. I think it's becoming a bigger thing now. Obviously, your social medias, it's like the FOMO effect. So like people are going places, don't want to, I want that, or they want to show off. But yeah, it is a big thing now. And obviously having a sort of professional expert, you know, we look at holidays, we get so much like intel and info sent to emails. Today was like a supplier training day. So that's what I say to people, why would I book for you? But we know it better than, I'm constantly looking at holidays. It's your job. It's like a mechanic. You don't do your own car service. But obviously people think, holidays is easier, but you just go to another level. Like people have said, you know, I book with you now, I never go back. And it is kind of that element, you know, you just improve everything for them, and to the point that they didn't know it existed.
So what's a typical day?
Get up, walk the dogs, feed the dogs, dog related.
They run the show, don't they?
Yeah, they do. It gives you that structure, to be fair. Yeah, usually just like obviously logging on, if I've got quotes to do, looking at that, maybe a bit of supplier training. Sometimes do a bit of networking, not really got the gist of that yet. I wouldn't say I'm a big fan of that. But yeah, that's the main thing. I have probably played too much golf now, but I also see that as a bit of networking. But yeah, I'm trying to not do as much for probably the business and my wife's sake.
So when you obviously come through the football ranks, your end game is getting into the first team, isn't it? What's your end game here?
I guess to get to a point where maybe like my wife could retire or like work with me. to have like a team in place. Like I know a couple of successful travel counsellors who don't really have to do much. They just have teams like working for them, and when they get the solid customer base and stuff like that. And yeah, just to progress really. I'd love to like move home, and yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not a big goal setter. I kind of just work as hard as I can and see where it gets me. I appreciate that's probably not the way to do it, but yeah, just to be successful. Like, I look at some of the travel counsellors here, and they do really well, and that's the goal, to like be similar level to that, and yeah, just keep going.
Brilliant. And finally, then, no regrets.
What? No. I mean, I look at it now, little bits. I just look at players I've played with now, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, I've trained with them and done it, and it's just like, wow, the difference. And even my wife says it, it's just like, oh, you were better than them. And like, it's all opinions in it. But, certainly in training, I used to do so well, but just never like, sometimes obviously got the chance in games. But no, I don't have any regrets. I put like my heart and soul into football. Yeah, I was always in the gym, even though it never showed. But yeah, I couldn't have worked harder, I don't think. It's just one of them, yeah. I love my life, so yeah. I'm happy with that. It's like money and the glitz and glam's not everything. And
you're still disgustingly young.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, turning 30 later in the year, so we'll celebrate that. But yeah, no, it's good.
Brilliant. James, thank you very much.
No, you're right.
Really appreciate it.